Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Wow, words of wisdom. Thanks so much for tuning in. Um, Today's topic of this video, to get straight to the point, y'all, is concerning potholes. That's right, potholes. As you know, the channel is about sharing wisdom, sharing knowledge for the betterment, if you will, of us individually and also for our community. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to say that if you feel like the topic for today is maybe something that you're not concerned with, doesn't affect you because of where you live, something like that, I just ask you to please watch till the end. I try not to make these videos long anyway, so it wouldn't be a lot of your time, but I ask you to watch till the end because part of the thing with this channel is, in terms of words of wisdom, one of the things I want to continue to echo is that even if you think the topics that are being covered don't pertain to you, or that it's information that you already know, number one, if it's something that you already know, in my opinion, words of wisdom, it doesn't hurt to be reminded. Number two, if it's something that you think is not pertinent to you, words of wisdom, just hear it out to the end, because at the very least, we have family members, we have friends, we have coworkers, we have relationships, especially now with technology throughout the world. So like you may feel like it doesn't pertain to you, but believe me, sharing something with somebody else can be so beneficial to them. So even if you hear it and you don't particularly use it or have a need for it, it can be beneficial to someone that you know. So again, straight to the point, words of wisdom. Um, if you are in an area where potholes, I'm talking about potholes in the street, in the roads, right? Are an issue, are a thing. Words of wisdom for today is report those potholes. I know sometimes, we may feel like, what's the use? Or again, this doesn't affect me. I'm not a driver. Maybe you may say I'm not even a passenger in a vehicle. But even if you're a pedestrian, again, anybody, words of wisdom, I think, applies to anybody. So my thing today is report the potholes in the streets. Like seriously, if it's a pothole or even something wrong with the streets, it may seem like, what's the big deal? Sometimes we feel like people don't listen anyway if you report it. I want to share with you that I kind of felt that way for a while too, until I actually started reporting some things, and you'd be shocked. Matter of fact, I've been taking some pictures and some video of certain areas that I've actually reported, and I've seen that they've been actually working on it. So I'm not just saying this just because. Matter of fact, there was a time when in the community that I live in, we have a shopping area down the way there. And for a while, the street on that area was like horrible. And I'm like, it was actually years, and I was like, why don't they fix this? And then finally, for real, like it just dawned on me, why don't I call them and tell them? And I called them up and I said, listen, this is a unique road here, because it's a road that leads to these shopping areas, and it's next to a highway. So other people, people are coming in to shop here. It's like, why do we have this rough, ugly, really pretty disgusting road, right? That's a thoroughfare, if you will, for people coming to shop and bringing money into our community. And would you believe they fixed that road? Be to be transparent, it wasn't the day after, it wasn't 2 days after, it wasn't, I don't even think it was a week. I think it was a couple of weeks, but they actually fixed it. So what I've been doing lately is I've been reporting potholes. And again, you may live in an area where this, potholes may not be a big thing. They seem to be common in the northeast, where especially during the winter time, when they treat the roads for snow and ice, the salt, plus the thawing and the freezing, messes with the roads, and we develop potholes. And of course, the more storms you get, the more they salt and brine and that kind of thing. So the chemicals actually add to messing up the roads. But I'm gonna tell you something straight up. Like, it's not even just the north or the northeast. Like, I've been to warm islands. I'm talking about Caribbean islands. Yeah, man. Okay, Caribbean islands where I was shocked at the amount of potholes. And those of you who my Jamaican counterparts, if you be real, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm not only talking about Jamaica, but I'm also talking about Jamaica. So again, this may seem like, what's the big deal, bro? Even if it's not relevant to you, it's something that you can share with somebody that you know, all right, an acquaintance that you may have in a foreign land, another place where it may be an issue. So report those potholes, man. Report them. And you may say that, like, you just don't have the time to do it. I felt that way too for a while, and sometimes I am busy, and it's like, ooh, I want to report it, but I might be, running a little bit late or whatever the case may be. But check this out. You can, no matter who you are, and again, that's why I say, like, listen to the end, because this is not just for drivers of vehicles, right? This is for passengers of vehicles, pedestrians. Um, Anybody can report these potholes and these problems with the streets. Matter of fact, pedestrians actually have, in some ways, a better opportunity to report these things, because they can kind of pause and take a note. I know we're into a time now where writing is not it's not the thing to do, but we have technology. Most people have a cell phone. You can use your favorite app, and just do a quick recording, for example. And when you report these potholes, be specific. You can make a little recording, says, um, Main Street traveling westbound in front of 4033 Main Street in your town, right? When you report it, be specific as you possibly can. All right. So again, even if you're a pedestrian, you feel like, this don't affect me, you actually have an advantage over the driver, who is focused on keeping the vehicle safe and his passengers safe. All right. And again, though, if you're a passenger in a vehicle, you don't have to feel like it doesn't affect you. Of course it affects you. We can have some literally jarring experiences, right, where we hit potholes as passengers. So even as a passenger, again, the driver may be focused on keeping that vehicle safe, right? So you can take that opportunity, write it down, the location, be specific again, and the direction that you're heading. You can figure that out on Google if you're not good with directions, but you can figure out which direction you're heading, or ask the driver which direction you're heading. And again, so when you report these things, you can be as specific as possible, right? Main Street heading westbound, in front of, 4030 Main Street, something like that, right? And for drivers, again, you're focused on driving the vehicle safely, so you may not have the opportunity right away to report these things, but you can certainly, as best you can, try to remember, or when you have a free moment, even come back around and get some information, so that when you report it, you can be as specific as possible. And most communities, most municipalities have some way of reporting these things. It can be a web page and or a phone number, some kind of an emergency phone number. Please, I'm not talking about 911, but a lot of municipalities have like a 211 or 311, depending on where you live. So you have multiple ways to report these things, either by phone or by internet, which we all have access to. So again, you might be busy at the moment, but later on, when you have a safe moment in a safe area, you can jump on the web, right? You can certainly Google your towns or your municipalities' way of reporting these things online. You can do it on your phone. You can do it on your desktop, whatever the case may be, your tablet, or you can call. All right. So this is the word of wisdom for today. Report those potholes. And you might say, what's the big deal, man? Listen, you'd be surprised how things can affect us. And wisdom is almost like preparing, so that there's some things that could happen that don't have to happen. It's bad enough when there's a pothole. Let me tell you, I'm a driver, and I've seen people, including myself, try to avoid potholes. You know what that does? Sometimes we swerve. And I'm not saying that's the best thing to do, but there are people who swerve to try to avoid potholes. God forbid, they swerve and they go onto a curb or something and hit a pedestrian. You know, these potholes, they do damage to cars. All right. They can swerve and hit another car. So that's why we do this, right? Words of wisdom, man. And it may seem like a small thing, but you can be a big help to somebody else's life, to your own, to the driver of that vehicle. If you're not the driver, to another passenger, even a pedestrian. And in my opinion, it only helps our community. All right. And I think in retrospect, the municipalities actually appreciate it. It may not seem that way at some point. It may not seem that way sometimes, but I think they do. All right. I think the municipalities really appreciate it. So that's our word of wisdom, our words of wisdom for today, y'all. Report those potholes, report those problems that are in the roadways. All right. Report those potholes.